All right, welcome to the Sweet Talk. Today is Saturday, November 2nd, 2019. I am your host, Kim Matina, and I am a Google certified trainer and educator and a technology teacher, and I am a gold product expert for the Google for Education Forum. And today, I'm so happy to have on my show today Miss Rachel Coathup. She is from London, and I know Rachel through the product expert program. So Rachel has a lot to offer. So thank you for being on today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. And great to be back for the second time.
Yeah, thanks for being on for the second time. And then last time, so much for you has changed. I know you are the head of a digital learning in Co-op Prep School in London. And I know since then that you were accepted to be a Google certified innovator for the Sweden cohort. So I'm very proud of you and congratulations for you there. And I know you're
Thank
a
you.
trainer as well. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do, and just introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Rachel. I'm originally from Australia. I was a classroom teacher there for 2 years, where I started my passion for integrating technology into the classroom. And then I moved to London to take on the role of a computing teacher, and then sort of branched out there to developing the digital curriculum in two schools in London. I'm also a Brain Pop certified educator and a Seesaw ambassador. And yeah, I just love using technology and learning about lots of new apps to use in the classroom.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to connect to people that have the same passion as yourself because you get to share and learn and grow. So it's always nice to have the same guests on multiple times because from the last time you've done so many more things and you explored many more apps out there and shared more. So I'm just glad that you're able to be on and share here as well. So I know today you're going to be talking about internet safety and how students can be safe online and make wise decisions on their online behavior. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and what you use to teach your students that curriculum?
Yeah, so one of the things that I really struggled with was that I found that internet safety and digital citizenship and all the different terms that come about are very boring, and they're very dull. And it's a lot of teacher authority to sort of deliver the content because the students have a lot of misconceptions about how to stay safe online. And a lot of parents, what we're seeing is that they are sharing these messages with their children that the internet's a bad place and there's bad people and all the information's not true and you can't be safe when you go on and use certain apps. So there's a lot of stigma around internet safety. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was to be able to deliver it in a fun way and a way that would be relevant to my students, but also engaging, allowed them to discuss. Um, and that was when I happened to come across the Internet Legends when I was doing some research. Hadn't done much research. I just sort of saw that it was an online program and that there was a game there. And I thought, okay, let's just order the manual. And this arrived in the mail, which was really exciting. So if you're in the UK, definitely go on and sign up. I'm not sure, is it the same in the US?
Yeah, we can sign up for it as well.
Yeah. And then within that, you've got the whole scheme of work. What's really nice is that it's got nice big poster you can put up in your classroom and stickers as well. So students always love good stickers there. And then the actual scheme of work is then broken down into different topics. And all the lesson material is there for you. And there's plenty of activities for each topic. And one of the things that I really loved about it was that I never had to either use all of the content that was there. I sort of just picked and choose, which activities I think that my students really needed to sort of do some more research in. And I broke it down from there. So looking at the different lesson activities and going, okay, what do I need to do? But the nice thing is it's got all the discussion points that you need to have with your students. It's
Oops.
got,
Hold
oh,
on. Sorry. I was going to the internet site. Sorry. And the
um,
video came on.
it's got all the lessons there. It says exactly what you need to ask. And it's got the differentiation as well. So for teachers that have never taught internet safety, it's your literal, it's almost your Bible to teaching internet safety. Um, and I found that what it allowed me to do was to sort of open up the discussion about the thoughts that students had, or the conceptions that they'd taken from their parents about being safe online. And I found that that was really helpful.
So show your book again.
Yep.
So this is the UK version, right?
Yes,
The
it's
Internet
UK
Legends.
version, so that you call it the Internet Legends.
Okay, so the American version or the US version is Be Internet Awesome.
Yeah.
And if you show your book again, what are your 5 pillars there? You
So
have
sharp, alert, secure, kind, and brave.
okay, so your curriculum is a little different, but basically it's still the same. The big concept is still internet safety.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, all right.
And what I was doing was, when I was looking through the scheme of work, there wasn't sort of anything that I could find initially, but when I did some research, I actually then managed to find the American version of the curriculum, where there was the slides. So if I share the screen, um, let's just see that one there.
Okay.
Has that come up now?
Yep, I see
Yeah,
it.
perfect. So what I managed to find was that there were the slides available. So this is actually the UK curriculum. Let's go on. So if I go back for a second and go on to Be Internet Awesome, which is this top one that comes up when I Google Be Internet Awesome. What I actually found was the Be Internet Awesome slides. And this is the key thing that I used when I was teaching it for the first time. So when I was teaching the Be Internet Legends for the first time, I actually started using these. And what all I did was I went through the scheme of work and looked at what were the key areas that it was focusing on, and then adapted the slides that were in here. Now, these slides can be used with Pear Deck, so I'll show you sort of how that can be used and how I used it. But you'll see that there's all of the different areas there. And when I click on to one of them to open it up, you'll see that they've got several different activities for that topic. Now, in my school, we were quite limited to actually being able to deliver this. And I think I had about 6 weeks to deliver sort of an internet safety unit. So I just sort of either combined the slides together. So I'd maybe do activities 1 to 4 in one lesson. And then some weeks I would go, actually, my students don't have a good understanding, so I want to work through each and every lesson that's there. But when I
So
click,
these activities are basically the slides.
yes, it is, yeah. So if I click onto one of them, and this will then open up to Pear Deck, because I'm signed in with Pear Deck. If you're not, then you can just install the Pear Deck add-on and work from there. But what's really nice, so if I just copy that over, it'll get me to make a copy of it. And so what I ended up doing was that when I was going through the curriculum, I thought, okay, it's fantastic. There's all of these activities and there's this discussions, but still it's very teacher centered. And I didn't know then what the students actually understood. So when we were talking about what does it mean to not share your password, or what does it mean when we see negative comments online, and how do we actually stand up to others? I didn't know whether every student in my class understood it. So what the Pear Deck allowed me to do was to actually get instant feedback from all of the students in my class, while delivering sort of a more dry content through the Be Internet Legends, Be Internet Awesome. And with Pear Deck, it meant that if suddenly I was working with the students and they gave me the answer, I wouldn't just wait until the end. If they sort of had given me maybe 2 or 3 words that really told me that they knew what I was talking about, I could just skip over. So it meant that when I was teaching, I was able to deliver internet safety that was not only relevant, but it was also, I wasn't delivering content that they already knew and understood. So I'm going to show you now the slides that are there. So if I just make that full screen, can you see that now?
Yeah, it's loading. Yep.
Does that come up? Yep. So the slides will always start with the activity goals. And I always use this as sort of a conversation starter for my students. And then it would go into a let's talk. So it would give you the prompt. Now, one of the things that's really handy about the scheme of workbook is that it's got actually the questions you can be asking. It explains what is privacy and breaks that down even further. So you don't have to think off the cuff and not know what to say. So one of the things that I did that I found really helpful was to use the speaker notes in Google Slides. So I would set up, the question prompts that I wanted to ask so that during my lesson I could work all the way through just using Google Slides.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do all my lessons like that now because it means that when I'm presenting, I've got my slides there, but I've also got all the questions that I want to ask. If there's anything that I need to remind the students or to prompt, it's much easier to work in Google Slides and I never forget anything then.
That's a good idea. I like that.
So then it goes into the first activity. So can you keep a secret? And then what comes up here, so down the bottom, sorry, it's come away, is that the students will write a response. So I would quickly get them to make up a secret. They would type them, and using Pear Deck, I'd actually then see all of their responses come up on the screen at the same time. So this just goes through, and then, for example, for this one here, you can get them to work with a partner and they'd write or draw their answers there. So Pear Deck's got a lot of different response options that you can use for your students. And it just means that as a teacher, while you're delivering that lesson, you're getting that instant assessment feedback. So there is no reason that you need to wait until the end of the lesson or give them a whole 10 minutes to check if they understand something. Students can be quickly responding and giving that feedback and moving on.
And again, these were all created and you just downloaded them online. You didn't change anything.
No, so what I did was I sort of combined some of the activities, or skipped over parts that I sort of didn't think were entirely relevant. And so sometimes the prompts might be, okay, the students probably won't have seen that yet, so I won't show them that slide. But I worked all the way through these slides. So I didn't actually get rid of any of them in terms of, okay, I'm going to pull in my own slides. I just combined the slides that were there and ran through the entire curriculum. The only one that I didn't sort of look at because we didn't have time, and it's something that's covered more in their PSHE, was sort of the internet kind and the internet brave. They were the sort of 2 areas. The other key thing that's really nice, and sort of the big excitement from the students with the internet awesome legends, I'm going to have to keep saying both now, is the actual games that go with it. So if I make my screen full size, so one of the reasons that the students really love this is, and it sort of just depends on the teacher where you and how you use this in your lesson. I would sort of deliver all of the content first, and in the last sort of 5 to 10 minutes of a lesson, I would actually get them to go on and we just explore one of the lands. The students love it because of the characters, and the sound as well. So if I just put the sound on.
Oh, that's cool.
Now I'm going to mute it because I've heard that sound 100 times. So you've got the different lands and you can click through. So there's a mindful mountain, a tower of treasure in terms of sharing and securing your secrets. So I'll just click on play for this one here.
So the color of the lands go with the theme of the
Yes,
curriculum?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So each one is based on those big branches. And it's very much a game sense for the students. They sort of don't realize they're learning while they're going through. So for some of them, it's more of a game because it's very much just running through and playing. But along the way, it's going to ask them to do certain things to keep safe. So my students absolutely loved this, and every week that I would come in, they said, "When are we going to play the game? When are we going to play the game?" Because that was all that they were looking forward to. So you can see, just go really quickly. So, oh, just missed my, not as good as the students. So first one, obviously need to play games more.
Yeah, right. So did you do this with elementary students or high school students? What age group did you do this
So
with?
elementary, so from years 3 to year 6 that I was working with, and they loved it. I think one of the nice things about the content is that you can definitely customize it for your students and go from there. So
I mean, do you think that this would be good for middle school,
I think so.
7th and 8th
I think
grade?
probably not the game. So I probably wouldn't use the game as such. But in terms of the activities that are there, definitely, because it's content that's still relevant for them and still really meaningful for them to actually be going through.
And what
I know
about high
that.
school? Like, what
So
do you think?
even yeah, so even so 7 and 8, I think the content that's there is really important, especially things like, you know, falling for fake. So if I just go into one of these here, the content that's there is so important for the students, and they're not used to recognizing, you know, things that are fake on the internet, and they are so quick. So, and one of the great things about it is that as a teacher, because they're in Google Slides, you can just copy the slides that you need. Even if it was just that you decide, okay, actually, we're not going to get the students to respond. Maybe we're just going to talk about 3 of the different activities that are there, um, and go from there. So for this one, you know, recognize the online audience might be bigger than you think. So there's definitely content in there that you could do with older students.
That's good to know because, I think it's important to teach even high schoolers, this content as well. Even though they're a little bit older, they may be a little bit more, they may have a little bit more common sense or maturity, but
Yeah.
it's always good to reinforce these skills, or these topics to them as well. Now, when do you teach this? Like, do you teach this in your own technology class, or do you push it into like the media center or into like an ELA class?
So when I started, I was delivering it in my computing lessons. So it was part of what they were doing as a computer, you know, internet safety, start to getting onto the computers. But we ended up introducing Be Internet Kinder, Be Internet Brave into our PSHE. Um, so I think it's definitely just dependent on your school and sort of how they set up internet safety. Some people integrate it really well into other aspects of it. And I think because of the way that the curriculum is done, it's very easy for teachers to just get on and do it from there.
So you did this in your what class? You said your P
PSHE, so
and what?
personal health and social well-being.
Okay, so that's a whole separate class.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I think, like, one of the challenges here, and I mean, I'm only going to speak for the schools that I've been in the US and New Jersey, but I think, like, one of the challenges that I've experienced and encountered was that nothing is built into the curriculum
Yeah.
for internet safety. So teachers just don't teach it. They may teach, like, how to cite a website, but again, they're using the digital tools like BibMe or EasyBib to do that. But they're not really teaching, how to be safe, how to be kind, all of those important concepts, because it's not built in.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there was a specific computer class offered at the school, then I can see integrating this curriculum in there. But um, when it's not part of your cycle, it's hard to get
Yeah.
something in here. And I'm not saying, like, I agree. I think it should be um, in integrated, because I feel that the students need this, and then maybe by the time they get to middle school, there won't be so much bullying and cyberbullying and, you know, all of the other dangers that go on. Because if they start this off at an early age, hopefully the goal is by the time they get to middle school, they would be aware and be more careful or caution on what
Yeah.
they're doing with the internet and things, but they don't teach it. And I think that's a big problem. I think because they feel like this is the digital age, these is the
Mm.
digital generation students, and that they just should know it, and they don't.
And
Um,
I think that's, that is a huge problem, is that we still continue to assume that students are, because they're born in the digital age, that they are, just going to know it, and they don't. And as being a computing teacher, I see that day in, day out. Our students are very showy and pretend that they know how to do a lot of things, but essentially the only things that they really know how to do is to get onto YouTube and to open up an app. But in terms of their tech skills, that's where they really fall behind. And I think when it comes to internet safety and actually being able to use the internet how we want them to effectively and to be able to collaborate, they really need to have a strong understanding. And one of the reasons that I wanted to share the Internet Legends on the Sweet Talk today was that it's just so easy to pick up. I'd never taught internet safety before. I'd picked up, lessons that had been left behind, and all I could think was, they're just we're just watching a video of two children, a little cartoon animation of two children playing a game, and some stranger randomly joins their game and starts talking to them. And we're far beyond that now. Technology's come a long way from it just being someone that's going to contact you online. um, and because everything is in this manual, it's got all your questions you need to ask. It's got your differentiation. You know, there's nothing there. It's got the game element as well, so to bring that gamification, which students love and engage with. And what I'd always do is after they'd played the game, I'd feed back and find out, okay, what are their thoughts now, and what are they going to do differently. Um,
Yeah, I like that. And I went to, like we were talking before the show went live. I recently went to a digital Edu Summit at the Google headquarters in New York, and it was basically a summit about CS First, Be Internet Awesome, and Applied Digital Skills. And I think CS First, out of all three of them, is more of the front runner of people being aware
yeah,
of that curriculum, but Applied Digital Skills and Be Internet Awesome isn't. And the US version of Be Internet Legends is called Be Internet Awesome, and it's basically it uses the same um, Google Slides. It uses Pear Deck to interact with the students to see what they know about the content along the way while you're presenting. But it's really, when I went up there, everything was done. Like you said,
yeah,
I didn't have to revise anything. And if I didn't want to teach that, I just skipped it,
yeah,
and everything was presented very easily. They did a nice job with Pear Deck to integrate the concept and the material to make it engaging for both the teachers and the students. And it's funny because one of the exercises that the presenter asked the attendees to do was, what is a good digital citizen? What
Yeah.
traits make up a good digital citizen? So us as educators had to work together in groups and come up with different traits. Like, what do you think makes a good digital citizen? And for you to sit there and think about it, we all know to be safe and be kind and report abuse and this and that, but sometimes we think things a little bit too much. Like we
Mm.
think that it's more difficult than it really is, and it's not. It's more common sense. And to sit there and try to think and work with other people, it was a really good activity because you got different perspectives of what people thought was a good digital citizen.
Yeah.
So
And
it was. Go ahead.
I think that's one of the great things, about it is that the activities are all, collaborative tasks or, involving discussion. It was never a silent lesson. The only time that lesson was quiet was at the last 10 minutes of it when they were onto the game.
Playing the game, right?
Yeah. But every other moment involves discussion. It involves collaborating, working together, trying to solve it. So I think that's what's really nice. And I don't know if it's the same in the US, but in the UK, the Parent Zone, who partnered with Google to develop the curriculum, have now actually branched out and looked at digital well-being. So they've just released a brand new module for UK, and you can get onto that from the Parent Zone website. If you just go to parentzone.org.uk/digital wellbeing, you can sign up for the information for the new pack that'll be sent out. And I had a sneak peek of it while they were in development phase. And I can just say that it is going to be incredible. And I think it's a really important area of focus because, yes, the digital e-safety and being good digital citizenships is one side, but actually, when we think about how much time students are spending online and how social media impacts as adults, our own well-being, just think about how that affects our students as well. So
Yeah, I agree. I actually did a show about digital well-being with Eric Kurtz a couple weeks ago, and he recommended to set timers on your mobile devices, and just kind of, basically monitor yourself,
yeah,
by setting timers. And there was other things that he did recommend, like put in your phone in do not disturb mode, and sleep mode, like night mode when you're, after a certain time, so that hopefully you kind of disconnect. But I think that is very important to be able to monitor your activity online and see how long you're really connected, because to pull the kids back from screen time is and just as important as internet safety. So I agree. I think it'll be interesting to see when that comes out. Maybe you can share that, and
yeah,
we can maybe revisit, because I just think it's so important nowadays for everyone, not only students but for adults too. We have to lead by example, and if our kids and students see us texting during class time or on social media during class time, what kind of example are we setting? So I think it's
yeah,
important for everyone.
definitely.
But yeah, maybe we can come back to that like in a few months after it comes out, and we can discuss
And
it, and you
apply
can.
it with the students. Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
great.
that
Yeah,
would be awesome. And then if you can share those websites that you um refer to, I'll send you the show notes, and then you can share that in the Wakelet collection, because I think, like I said, I just think people aren't aware that these resources are there and they're done. You don't have to
yeah,
recreate the wheel. And they're valuable. There's a lot of great information in there. So I would appreciate if you can do that as well. And then we can share it out with everyone.
yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, that wraps up the show today. Thank you for being on, Rachel. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me on again.
No, it's always a pleasure to actually get a chance to actually speak to you and not just, go back and forth on Instagram and Twitter. But it's all good. So let me just share my screen. You let me know if you could see my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay. So if you would like to see, if you want to see any information about the Sweet Talk, you can go to thesweettalk.com. That's the SUITE talk.com. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, join my Facebook group, subscribe to my newsletter. And the Sweet Talk is also on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, and Google Podcasts. This episode will be available in a little while. It'll be on the homepage. And if you would like to be a guest on my show, you can fill out the guest inquiry form and just fill it out, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Right now, I can't believe it. I'm scheduling for February and March of 2020. I'm so excited. But if you'd like to see any past episodes, you can go to the episode and podcast list, and all of the past episodes will be displayed here on this page. And you can check out the YouTube episode and the show notes for that topic as well. And that is basically it. Let me go back. And I'm back, right? Can you see me?
Yep, you're back.
All right. See, this tool is really, really easy, the StreamYard. I'm so thankful that I found it. My friend actually, Chris Nessie, recommended it to me, and I fell in love with it right away. So I'm so thankful that this app is available because it's really easy to use.
It is really easy.
Yeah, it's so easy. So with that said, just shout out again to Chris Nessie and StreamYard. And I am going to wrap up the show. So thanks for sharing, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.